Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and you join me on a beautiful scenic route here atop the new Honda CB750 Hornet, or at least new for the United States of America. This is a bike that Europe has been enjoying for a few years now. It takes the same 750 motor that we get in the Honda Transalp and slots it in to a roughly 430-pound naked sport bike, or really kind of a standard bike, if you will. We are outside of Sacramento, California this week, riding with a whole group of other YouTubers and writers and fellow journalists atop both CB750s and CB1000 SPs, both of these carrying the Hornet moniker. Now, technically speaking, the old Honda Hornets, the 919 and the 599, those were not called Hornets in the United States because technically AMC, or Chrysler, had the Hornet namesake locked up and Honda couldn't legally use it here in the United States. But now it seems that they have overcome that because we have these two affordable and accessibly focused naked motorcycles here in the United States shores. This bike, as I'm riding it, about $8,600 after destination. That's before tax, title, and fees from a dealership. But for within four figures, you should be able to leave a Honda dealership with this motorcycle that makes, I'm actually not quite sure how much horsepower. I'll put it here below. You will have also already seen it in the spec panel. But what you need to know is because of the way Honda has tuned the motor for kind of that low-end grunt as well as enough power up at the high end, this is an awesome little motorcycle for anything from running around the city to carving these twisty type of roads. If you're watching my tachometer at all here on this dinky little TFT display, I'm running some pretty low revs. I'm down around 3,000 RPM in second gear right now, maybe all the way down about 2,000 RPM going up this steep hill, and if I goose it, I got a lot of grunt, and I've got a nice little growl out of there because this is a 270-degree crank parallel twin, and it's also fed into a fairly well-tuned exhaust system. Honda has tried to make it satisfying to listen to from both the low end and the highs. We're perched on non-adjustable suspension aside from rear preload. Honda has tried to make this an accessible motorcycle for as many riders as possible. So they're not going to throw super expensive suspension. We're going to see that a little bit more on the CB1000. That's got adjustable shocks. But this one kind of giving you a everything you need and nothing you don't formula. Although I guess the more I think about that, it's even got things that you don't necessarily need that are really nice to have at this price point, like up and down quick shifter. So I'm in third right now. If I want to go to second, no clutch, and off we go, and then same thing, no clutch. Back up into third. We also have auto-canceling turn signals, so if you're somebody who often falls prey to leaving your turn signal on, after you make a sharp enough turn, this bike is going to disable it for you. We also have 5 different ride modes, 3 pre-programmed and 2 customizable, where you can fine-tune both power, traction control, and engine braking. You've got 3 different stages of all those, and I believe you can turn traction control all the way off. And this bike even has a degree of wheelie control in it, so we haven't been able to give that a try yet. But that's pretty cool to see for under $10,000, especially with a motorcycle with this level of power. And on top of all that, we even have an outside temperature display. I really like that. So far, this bike has been speaking to me for a few reasons. One, I like simplicity with functionality, if that makes sense. I like to have a good amount of features, things that make my riding life more enjoyable without taking away from the core riding experience. This bike is light, it's nimble, it's flickable, it's sporty, it's spunky, it's got character to it between the intake sound, the pull, the revs, the exhaust. Everything is there for what I'm looking for in a riding experience. But then also, I've got the kind of the tech that I want without being intrusive. Oh, and of course, ABS brakes, standard. Love having that. Now, this is a bike that Honda badly needed for the North American market. Their 650 class, the CB650R and the CBR650R, are both inline fours. And yes, they make a little more peak horsepower than this, but while a lot of people like to go, oh, cool, inline four, great, having an inline four is not as, how do I want to phrase this? It's not as enjoyable. I'll go as far as saying enjoyable for lower speed, kind of city sort of riding. Yes, it's a lot of fun to ring an inline four out, get it up to higher revs and let it scream. But realistically speaking, if you're somebody who rides daily or rides more residential sort of areas, you're not utilizing those upper revs very often. What you are utilizing is this low grunt. You're behind a car and then they get over in a lane and you want to get right by them, or you're getting away from stoplights and stop signs, you kind of stop and go, and that sort of deal. That is where something like this 270-degree crank parallel twin comes into its element. And not only that, with the new e-clutch technology and some fairly advanced shock packages, the CB650R is an expensive motorcycle. I don't have the price right here in front of me, but I know that this CB750 Hornet is quite a bit cheaper than that. And I mean, it would be really tough to directly compare them without going back to back, but I don't really see why you would choose a CB650R now over this. I mean, yes, the e-clutch is pretty cool, I will give it that, but having a quick shifter is fairly close as well. But if you're going and looking for high revving shenanigans, then I feel like you're going to go for more of a sport bike, something with more fairings and a little bit more of an aggressive riding position. In fact, hey, you might as well just step up to the CBR650R, CBR600R, and get a full super sport kind of experience. But so far today, the 750 Hornet is a Goldilocks sort of motorcycle. And we're gonna get stopped here soon, take a little bit of a break, and then get on to some real exciting tight twisties. We'll really open this thing up, but so far, there's a lot to like here. So here it is, the CB750 Hornet. Coming in two different colors, this one white with some red on the frame, and then of course you have black, something you pretty much get any motorcycle in. I'm a bit disappointed in that. I would love to see a red. When I think back on the 919, I don't think you could get the 599 in red, but the 919 Hornet, I loved seeing in that red color. And obviously you're dealing with quite a bit more plastic here on these newer Hornets than we were with the ones in the early 2000s. But this thing still pretty darn cool look. They've got the sort of Hornet insect DNA into the styling. With the 750, we have kind of a single piece dual light headlight design up there up front, kind of supposed to be the face of the Hornet. And then this tank, when you kind of get up on it, you can see has sort of a wing and haunch design like the Bug, and then sort of comes back down low and then up, sort of like the tail. And then when you get on it, you got this nice broad tank. It kind of catches you off guard the first time you get on the bike, but after riding it, spending time on it, you kind of go, all right, this is pretty cool. I'll have to look up to see what the tank volume is, but I would think it actually make for a pretty good fuel tank size as well. Honda has made good efforts to make this bike both light and affordable. So again, that $8,600 price tag, 423 pounds, I believe it was, ready to ride, curb weight. I mean, this is a bike that, like I said a little bit earlier, it's made to give you what you want and not much else. Wide handlebars as well, so if you're a newer rider, you're going to feel more confident being able to push the handlebars around. It's got a light, flickable, Street Fighter-ish sort of feel and experience as opposed to something narrow and tight, more like a sport bike. And then this exhaust pipe. They got the 2-in-1 exhaust. Sounds cool. Honestly, doesn't look terrible either. I was looking at the 1000 that we're going to ride tomorrow. That one has a much bigger muffler. Doesn't look nearly as good. You can easily put a passenger on back. They're not going to be super comfortable, but like most of these lighter weight nakeds, it's functional. Most people are probably going to rip this rear fender area off and just do a bit of a tail tidy. I think that would look quite good. Yeah. Overall, I'm quite a fan of the styling of the bike. Like I said, I'd just like to see a little bit more red. Then, getting up here, firing up the screen, it's not beautiful. I'm just going to go as far and to say that. It's got a huge bezel, but it works. It does give us a few different customization options. You can switch, if we go here, down, then you see everything turns white, and that's because if you go down to display, you can change it to just be white either in the daytime or all the time, and only dark at night. But I like having the dark gauge. It's a little easier on my eyes. I think it looks better. You can also change whether you see a circle gauge, bar gauge, or what is this, none? Yeah, okay, if you just don't want a tachometer, that's an option as well. And then you can see some of the adjustability for the riding modes. You can customize them. Again, different power, engine braking, and traction for your custom modes. And then also the quick shifter for both up and down. How hard do you want to press it? So if you find yourself accidentally shifting the bike, you can make it a little bit more resistive. I'm actually going to go back down to soft for both of these, see how that is for the rest of the day. Shift point, when do you want it to start flashing at you? To shift, self-canceling turn signals. So again, you get enough steering angle, then those will cancel out for you after you've turned them on. Coming back to the main screen, you can see we've got fuel, gear, ride mode, indication, outside temperature, clock, trip, and you can see average fuel economy. So far today, we've done 130 miles and averaged 48 miles per gallon. Quite good in my book. So there's a good bit to like. We've got a little bit more riding to do today. I'm going to wrap up some of my thoughts with you on the road. But so far, the CB750 panning out to be a very sweetheart bike for both the class and the price. Here we are, some rougher city streets on the Hornet 750. And again, this is where the bike really comes into its own. We've got that low, just over 31-inch seat height, so I can easily get my feet down. I mean, I'm only 5'10", 32-inch inseam, but my feet are firmly planted on both sides. Right there you can see those quick getaways sort of in situations. The power is right there. You got that slipper and assist clutch that I have not had even close to a remote instance of stalling my time on the bike today. But again, the throttle's not jumpy, it's just assertive. It's right there when you need it. I'm really happy with the tuning with this electronic throttle. Quick shift from second up to third, nice and easy. Suspension a little bit firm. Maybe I could take a little preload out, but it's just not advanced suspension. I mean, Honda has a history of saving a few bucks around the shock package, and I don't think that's any different here with the Hornet. I mean, you step up to the SP if you want a little bit more advanced suspension, but I think most people around this riding style are not going to notice. It might just be more advanced riders. If you were coming off of something like a BMW or a Triumph or one of those fancier bikes, you might ride this and be, oh, feels a little basic. But then just like that, we are back into twisties, and that's why it's so nice having a setup like this, because it's it can do it all. Had many hours in the saddle so far today, 140 miles of mostly this sort of road, with probably about half an hour of highway and then some city as well. And there has not been a situation where I have felt the Hornet 750 be out of its element. I mean, even right here, I'm running both. Two of the bikes in front of me are 1000s, and then the lead bike is a 750. And I think I've been having more fun on the 750 than a lot of the people on the 1000s today, because you just got less weight. You've got a more approachable and usable power band than the 4-cylinder. And just me shifting my weight around the bike, it's a little bit more playful through these corners. Now, I'm not saying that's for sure. I haven't ridden the 1000 yet, but just talking with the guys and also just seeing the way they're riding versus the way I'm riding. I mean, that's Ian from Big Rock Moto, and then Joe in front of us. I think he's shooting for Chase on 2 wheels. So they're both much more experienced riders than I am, and yet I'm hanging right here with them on the 750. And I mean, just look how quick I rotated that over right there. right down. Part of that's the wide handlebars, part of that is the lightweight, the low center of gravity. Part of that's just good engineering. We do have an adjustable brake lever on the right side, no adjustable clutch lever, which not really the end of the world when you've got a quick shifter. Woo! There's the scrape. There it is. Not a super advanced tire on here. We're some sort of Michelin. I'll have to see exactly what it is, but I haven't had any issues with it, that's for sure. Oh, this is a fantastic road. I'd love to go up and down this. To give Joe a little bit more space, let him stretch his legs, not feel like I'm breathing right up his trumpet. There's a little front end lift there. Ah, what a good bike. Go back up into sport mode. It might just be placebo, but I feel like sport mode has a little bit more intake noise, a little growlier. there's essentially nothing that I have to complain about this motorcycle. I mean, yes, I'd like to see cruise control, but I understand that's going to be an added cost, and not exactly the point of this bike, so I can see why Honda left it off. And yeah, the gauge isn't super nice, and maybe it could use a little bit larger fuel tank. Other than that, this is a fantastic motorcycle for doing a motorcycle, if that makes sense. It doesn't matter if you're a veteran rider or if you're an absolute new beginner. This is going to be a fun bike for you. In fact, you can switch it up into rain mode and ride this as a newer rider and have less power at your fingertips, have it be a lot less responsive. Then once you get comfortable, you move on up into standard mode, get comfortable there, and then have some fun and sport. Now, I know it's still not exactly cheap, but I'm sure that adjusted for inflation, this is still a very reasonably priced motorcycle compared to previous Hornets or whatever motorcycle you're going to think, oh, back in my day I paid $5,000 for blah, 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 blah. Well, put it in just for inflation, and I know you can get in the whole argument of, oh, wages haven't kept up. I know that. But Honda can only do so much to fight the entire industry inflation, so this, to me, this is what more of the motorcycling world needs. Accessible, particularly fun motorcycles. And speaking of that, Honda has a bunch of accessories that you can get directly from them and slap on here. And in fact, they even have an interactive build configurator on their website now. Even on a smartphone, you go on and you can bring up the Hornet 750 and you can do a 360-degree drag around and show what different accessories would look like on the bike. So that's kind of cool. Now, right at the end of the day, our helmet mic pooped out on battery, so I'm re-recording this section. But what a great day of riding here on the CB750 Hornet. And what a great bike here from Honda. They identified a weak point, a blind spot in their lineup, especially here in the States, and they've given us a bike that I can wholeheartedly recommend. I mean, I obviously would like to spend more time with the bike than just one day before giving it such blanket approval, but I mean, they really didn't miss much of a mark with this motorcycle. Now, yes, there are other 650 class bikes that you can get that are going to have a different character, might have more features, a little bit different fit and finish, but to me, the Hornet 750, the CB750 Hornet, represents what motorcycling should be. Simple, fairly affordable, and just downright fun. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on this bike, check the link below for our No Talking review over on Winding Road Magazine. And you can also see our review on the CB1000 coming here soon. That'll be linked below. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, ride on.